Hey everyone, Brian here, and we're talking with Elliot Olson about THQ and Rainbow's upcoming MX vs. ATV Reflex. Elliot, how are you?
Great, thanks.
Good. So we've seen MX vs. ATV games in the past. Last one came out a couple years ago. Reflex, you guys have changed a lot with this. Let's start with the overall approach. What did you guys want to do with this game?
Well, we basically didn't want to revamp and rebadge what we did before. We kind of lead off-road, so we have to raise our own bar and have everybody else play catch-up. So, you know, there's a lot of things going into it. We have a brand new physics engine, which really leads as the foundation is everything for the game. From rider reflex, this is what we'll probably get into, is the independent control of the rider and vehicle. Real-time terrain deformation. Seen some of it before, but nothing like this. And of course, the visual quality has been blown through the roof.
Separating the rider from the bike or the ATV or what have you is a big deal, but why is that a big deal? What makes it different from previous MX vs. ATV games? All
right, well, the reason we went down this road, scary road, but very, very excited about it, is that you've always just kind of steered the bike around or the vehicle around the course, and the rider's always just been along for the ride. Well, when you're really riding a bike or an ATV, you're moving your body around the bike, you're shifting your weight, and having the separate controls really lets you have that finite control of the vehicle and actually makes it a little bit easier to control because we can let the physics do a lot more. So if you want to lean in to slide around corners, you can if you lean outside. And it opens up a couple other things with Reflex as well.
And that's all tied to the right stick. Can you explain how the controls work?
Yeah, so basically it's very simple. The left stick, as it stands, controls and steers the vehicle, and the right stick is all about the rider. So that's where you're going to shift your weight, that's where you're going to do your stunts from, and react to wreck avoidance too, which I'm sure we'll talk about.
Yeah, wreck avoidance, let's actually talk about that now. In the past, sometimes you hit a jump, you spill off the bike. This time you have a chance to save yourself, right?
Yeah, sure. So if you're not full on moto, some of the wrecks before might not have made sense, or you're like, oh, I just want to keep going. Well, with wreck avoidance, it actually gives you that quick adrenaline rush and tests your reflexes to actually save the wreck. So instead of throwing away seconds and trying to get back up and catch up to the group, if you save it, well, you're still right in the race. Or in freestyle, you're still right in the flow of your run. So it's a really cool feature that gives you that adrenaline rush, but yet keeps you kind of in the action and going.
New controls, new physics, and these affect the freestyle, the trick system, and there's also a new judging system as well. How does that all tie together?
Well, we really wanted to bring freestyle up to the level of other events and much like some of the real world events. So we kind of got away from the whole point system of what traditional button mashing kind of stunts has to do with. And taking advantage of the rider reflex, we have this really fluid stunt system that really makes sense on how the guy moves around the bike and the tricks that he pulls off. And it's even more important because we have this new judging system that looks at how many jumps you're using, the difficulty that you're doing, if you're wrecking, if you're not wrecking, much like a real life event is. We've really brought up the whole spectacle of all of the events to really put you in that mode of what a professional event's going to be like.
All right, well, of course, the last question is, when are we all going to be playing MX vs. ATV Reflex?
Sure.
And on what platform?
Okay, so this is going to be available on 360, PS3, Nintendo DS, and PSP, and it'll be coming out this holiday season, so it should be a lot of fun.
Thanks, Elliot. MX vs. ATV Reflex coming soon. We'll be looking forward, and you can find much more information on GameSpot in the coming months.